broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. News at 12.
For the local scene, ASF aid reaches Tiwi hog raisers. The Department of Agriculture released 1.875 million in indemnity cash to 78 swine farmers in Tiwi after losses caused by African swine fever. The payout compensated raisers whose hogs were killed during mandatory depopulation to contain the disease. Provincial veterinarian Dr. Pancho Armelia said the assistance covered 388 hogs from affected barangays. The distribution was facilitated through the Department of Agriculture Regional Field Office 5 Livestock Division. Local officials led by Vice Mayor Jaime C. Villanueva and Dr. Melia oversaw the release of funds. Officials thanked the agency for the support and recognized the farmers' patience during the claims process. Mayor Jose Morel C. Climaco said the aid will help rebuild livelihoods and stabilize the local swine supply. The assistance is expected to accelerate recovery efforts and strengthen in the municipality. Meanwhile, Albay pushes tourist police unit. The Albay Police Provincial Office is moving to institutionalize a tourist police unit to strengthen safety in key destinations. The proposal was discussed in a coordination meeting with the Provincial Tourism Culture in the Arts Office and the Albay Provincial Legal Office. The planned unit will deploy tourist-oriented police for community order and protection in major tourist sites. Police Director Noel Nunez and the National Police Commission in Albay expressed support for the initiative. Officials said the move reflects a shared commitment to protect visitors and local communities. The Tourism Office has been working since 2023 to complete the requirements for the unit's rollout. The initiative is expected to boost tourist confidence and improve the overall travel experience in the province. Moreover, free circumcision drive expands access. The provincial government of Albay conducted a free circumcision drive to expand access to essential healthcare services. The activity was held at the ACID Hall of the APSIMO building under the Albay in My Heart Circumcision Caravan 2026. The Albay Provincial Health Office led the initiative under the supervision of Dr. Carl Hejal Ante. Support from the provincial government hospitals and Kiwanis International helped deliver the services. The program aims to reduce barriers to minor surgical care and promote preventive health practices. Health officials said the effort strengthens access to basic services at the community level. In the national scene, Marcos vows uninterrupted government services. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. assured Filipinos that the government services will continue without interruption despite the country's ongoing energy crisis caused by the rising global oil prices linked to the conflict in the Middle East. In a vlog released on Sunday, April 26, Marcos said the government remains committed to delivering essential services and will not allow any crisis to disrupt public assistance programs. He said infrastructure projects, healthcare services, education programs, crime prevention efforts, and support for sports, culture, arts, and tourism will continue as agencies across the government carry on their responsibilities. Marcos stressed that keeping public services running is necessary to ensure that Filipinos continue to receive assistance even as the country faces economic and energy-related challenges. The President also highlighted the administration's housing program and recalled his recent visits to housing projects at Crystal Peak Estate and San Fernando and Pasinaya Homes in Magalang. Meanwhile, Romualdez linked to freeze order. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla said former House Speaker Martin Romualdez is the subject of a freeze order issued in connection with an investigation into flood control funds. In an interview with a radio news outlet, freeze order was granted by the Court of Appeals following a request from the Anti-Money Laundering Council. The AMLC earlier announced that it had obtained a freeze order against a prominent lawmaker allegedly linked to the flood control probe, but no name was disclosed at that time. The order covers several bank accounts, insurance policies, an investment account, and properties registered under the lawmaker, an alleged business associate, and a corporate entity, according to the AMLC. Remulla also said authorities are preparing up to 6 cases related to the flood control investigation that may be filed within the next 2 weeks. In other story, VP Sara impeachment moves forward. House Justice Committee Chair Jervil Luistro said the defense team of Sara Duterte appears to accept that the impeachment case will reach the Senate after saying they will answer the allegations during the trial. Luistro said the committee only needs to establish probable cause or enough basis to move the complaint forward, and questioned why Duterte's camp brought the matter to the Supreme Court at this stage. She cited findings by the Commission on Audit showing disallowed confidential fund expenses worth $448 million from 2022 to 2023 due to missing justification and supporting documents. Luistro said the audit cases are separate from the impeachment proceedings because the audit processes seeks the return of public funds, while impeachment could remove the vice president from office and ban her from future public service. She also pointed to a report by the Anti-Money Laundering Council flagging $6.7 billion in transactions linked to Duterte and her husband that were allegedly not clearly declared in her statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. The House Justice Committee is set to conclude its hearings on April 29 after receiving findings from the National Bureau of Investigation on Duterte's alleged threats against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and other officials before voting on whether probable cause exists for impeachment. For the news outside the country, shots fired at Washington dinner. Reports say shots were fired during the White House Correspondents' Association dinner in Washington, causing panic among guests. Security officers quickly moved in, detained a suspect near a screening area, and evacuated attendees from the event space. President Donald Trump was escorted out by security as the situation unfolded, and later said law enforcement handled the response well. Trump also suggested the incident would not change his stance on Iran, while saying there was no clear evidence linking the shooting to any broader conflict. Officials said the dinner would be postponed after the disturbance, and investigations were launched to determine what led to the incident. Meanwhile, Middle East peace talks amid escalation. Iran's foreign minister arrived in Islamabad as U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner prepared to travel to Pakistan for possible new talks, although Iran said it would not hold direct meetings with them. In Lebanon, a fragile ceasefire was extended by U.S. President Donald Trump, but Israeli strikes in the south still killed 6 people despite hopes for peace. The White House said Iran had requested an in-person discussion and that the goal was to make progress toward a deal, while U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance remained on standby to join if needed. Iranian officials insisted Pakistan would only act as a go-between, and tensions also continued over the Strait of Hormuz, where restricted shipping has disrupted global energy flows and drawn calls to fully reopen it. Global markets reacted with falling oil prices and rising U.S. stacks on hopes of diplomacy, even as the United States increased its military presence in the region and political divisions continued over peace efforts in Lebanon. For our final news update related to our country, ICC seeks public disclosure of filing. The International Criminal Court's Office of the Prosecutor has asked that a previously confidential defense filing in the case involving former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte be made public. In its April 24, 2026 submission, the prosecution said the document would help correct public misunderstanding by clarifying that 6 prominent Filipino lawyers are not part of Duterte's defense team in The Hague. The prosecution argued that keeping the filing secret is not justified, saying transparency is important for witness protection and to avoid discouraging cooperation in its ongoing investigation, especially given the lawyers' past government roles. The defense opposed to the move, insisting the reductions were meant to protect the lawyers' reputation and maintaining that the prosecution's concerns had already been addressed. That ends our news break for today, April 27, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news update. Thanks to our noon news break writers, LJ Lorejo and Naomi Hernandez. And on the technical side, we have Richard Bobis. To our Provincial Information Office, OIC Marty Gonzalez, under the supervision of our Governor Noel E. Rosal. This has been your anchor, Anessa P. Babb. Thank you for subscribing.